You can see we completely dusted that sport bike.
This is the 2023 Lifan KPM200, and today we're going to do our first impressions. Starting off with the looks of the bike, I think this bike looks really sick. I definitely like the looks more than my bike, the Kymco Spade. These straps around the gas tank are interesting. They are only aesthetic. They don't have any other purpose. This definitely embraces the cafe racer style, and it has a really nice stock seat. One thing right off the bat that looks really odd is that the dash or the gauge is on the tank instead of between the handlebars. For comfort and seating position, this feels very comfortable. Sitting straight up, the handlebars seem perfectly spread apart at the right distance. The foot peg is at a good height, maybe just a little bit higher than I would like, but not a huge issue. It seems like there's a lot of room on this seat. The foot pegs look a little bit smaller than I was expecting. The owner of this bike did install an aftermarket gauge in between the handlebars, and we will not be using that for my initial thoughts and the test ride. We're going to only use the stock gauge. So the stock gauge comes with a digital miles per hour, digital RPMs, a digital clock, a fuel gauge, a gear indicator, total miles, and one trip meter. The location is kind of weird. You do kind of have to look straight down to see it instead of just glancing between the handlebars. So lights on the gauge outside of the digital display include both blinkers, ABS, check engine, neutral, and headlight. Doesn't seem like there's a high beam light. Interesting. For tires, this is going to have a 17-inch front and rear tire. It's going to have single disc in the front, single disc in the back, and it is also chain drive. For passenger capabilities, when I sat on this, it did seem like there was plenty of room back here for a small passenger, and it does come stock with passenger pegs. I'll put the weight limit, if I can find it, on screen. It is made in China, and the main markets for this seem to be Brazil and India. The used market, I really couldn't find anything, but the owner said when he was looking, he found this one and one other. The owner did pay $2,000 for this one. He said he did find another used one for $2,400, and this only has around 1,000 miles on it. All right, let's get right into the test ride.
So the pull of the motorcycle in lower RPMs, I've already noticed, is not that powerful when you're in the low RPMs. But once you get up to above 6, it starts to have some decent pull. The mirrors, they seem pretty good. They're big enough. They aren't vibrating that much, and you got pretty good visibility. The power, like I mentioned, in the lower RPMs is not that impressive. In the higher RPMs, it does show itself. So off the line, I mean, it's pretty quick. Maybe I'm not pushing it hard enough, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna win any races. Don't notice a huge difference between like 0 to 50 speed and this compared to my bike. My bike's a 150, this is a 200, so I was expecting a little bit more. It definitely goes faster. Getting to that speed doesn't seem very impressive. Comfort, handlebars, perfectly spaced, foot pegs, almost no vibration at all. Mirrors, almost no vibration at all. Riding position, I'm sitting straight up basically, and very comfortable. So we're in 6th gear now, and the pickup from 5th to 6th was very impressive. The seat's comfortable. It could be better. Yeah, I think I might have been shifting too early when I first started riding the bike. I'm pinned in 6th gear. We do have quite a bit of wind. And registering 64 on the stock and 58 on the aftermarket. If I was really trying to get this thing to go, I bet I could hit 70. I can tell you right now, the aftermarket gauge is the one I keep looking at. Even though I said I wasn't going to use it, it is way more convenient to look here rather than down here on the tank. The brakes feel just right. They're definitely not too touchy. Clutch feels fine after the first 2 minutes. The handling feels pretty good. You can see we completely dusted that sport bike. I have no experience with this brand beforehand. It is Chinese made, so I don't know what the longevity is going to look like. Shifting feels good, up and down, no problem.
Just got back from the test ride of the Lifan KPM200, and I'm not disappointed. I wouldn't say I'm surprised either. I expected it to have a higher top speed and a little bit more power than my bike. This is a 200, my bike is a 150. I only hit 65 once on this bike, not because the bike couldn't do it, but because the roads we were on. The dash being on the tank wasn't my favorite. I always looked at the aftermarket dash instinctively, and it was way more convenient. The MSRP for this is on the screen, and here's a couple other ones on screen as well that I found at dealerships that seem to be a little bit lower than MSRP. Would I buy it at that price? I might, but depending on the dealer fees and everything, that would be the deciding factor for me. Tyler did mention he spent $2,000 on this bike, and would I buy this bike at $2,000? Yes, I would buy this bike. Overall, I really enjoyed the ride, and just shout out to Tyler for letting me ride it. If you want to see Tyler ride my bike and review it, click this video right here. If you want to see more videos about my Kymco Spade, click this playlist right over here.
Rapping when they all want me to sing, but still they all want an album, so I gave them 20 singles. Yeah, I'm trying to get a hit, that's why I swing.